Okay guys, I just wanted to come back to you with my review on the Swiftech H220 that I unboxed like almost a couple months now, maybe actually over a couple months now. It's been a long time. I've been busy, I'm sorry. I would like to put out more videos, but I mean between school and work and all the things in life, sometimes it just doesn't happen. Anyways, on to the Swiftech. My major issue, my only real issue, I guess, it's not even really a major one, is that I did not receive screws that fit my motherboard socket configuration. I had screws that were the right length, but did not have the proper threads, and then I had screws with the proper threads that weren't the right length. I have an AM3 motherboard. It's a Asus Crosshair 3 formula. It's quite old now. So I mean, most people with a recent motherboard shouldn't have this issue. I'd assume they don't have 100 motherboards to test. But with that Crosshair 3 and a old Phenom X2 processor, I had to remove the screws from my old Thermaltake General. It was just some aftermarket cooler. I had to remove the screws from that cooling unit and actually use them on the H220 so that it would properly stay on the board. The screws that came with the product were, well, they were too long, essentially. And I was considering using washers or something to hold it down properly, but I decided that it would be better to just have the right screw for the right thing. It's not the prettiest thing in the world because, well, the screws aren't black and the rest of the item is, but it works for me. So that's something to be aware of when you're looking at this cooler specifically. If you have an older motherboard or processor, especially the AM3, you need to be careful and make sure that you have the proper hardware, basically, to get it all bolted on there. Other than that, it was an absolute breeze to install. I mean, you really just screw it in and you're ready to go. It took me more time to take my case apart than anything else, so I mean, after I had the top cover on my case open to install the radiator, I literally screwed it down and then I installed the CPU. So you can see I mounted the fans on top and the radiator on bottom. I have them in a pull configuration, that way all the dust gets trapped down here and I can kind of clean it out easily. It was super easy to install. I literally unscrewed the fans from the way that they were originally. I held the radiator in place, put a fan down, and screwed one in, screwed the other in, so on all the way around, and it was simple enough. I'm using a Cooler Master, one of the high airflow type cases, and it's just kind of nice because I get some little brackets. You can see one here, so when you're mounting your radiators and stuff, they're already pre-drilled and everything. But yeah, it's simple enough, and there really isn't much to it. Down here, let's see if I can tilt this up a little. You can see the radiator up there, and then the two tubes, the inlet and outlet, and then the pump and CPU bracket, of course. You can see the screws. I had to use from my other aftermarket cooler. They work just fine. It's just I wish that I had that black screw working, though I will have this fixed very soon. Okay, so after I installed the H220 and got it, well, I let it sit overnight just to make sure there weren't any leaks or anything by accident. I set up my computer and I ran Prime 95 just in default blend mode, and all of these temperatures are maximum ratings at the moment that I took them. Idles are after 30 minutes of sitting there, from being cold, by the way, not just sitting right after a test. With no overclock at 3.2 gigahertz, which is the stock clock for the AMD Phenom 2 X4 Black Deneb edition.
I was getting idles of 37 degrees Celsius, and after 30 minutes of prime, I got 50 degrees Celsius, which is great. I'm really happy with that. I don't think I could ever push my computer any harder than prime would. I mean, it is designed to kind of, well, it's a torture test. So I was really happy with that. I have not been able to get it to go to 50 degrees Celsius even with video editing or anything that I'm really doing. So I'm stoked with that result. After I initially overclocked it to 3.5 gigahertz, I was getting an idle of 38 degrees Celsius, and after 30 minutes of prime, it went up to 31 or 51 degrees Celsius. So, I mean, a mild increase. At 3.6, I was idling at 40, and after 30 minutes of prime, 53 degrees Celsius. And 3.7 was 40 and 55, and finally 3.8, which is the furthest I could push this CPU and motherboard combo. And bear in mind, I'm not some professional overclocker or anything, and I really don't like my motherboard. There are things going out in it or something. It's getting worn out. It's time for a new one. But at idle, I got 41 degrees Celsius, and after 30 minutes of prime, it was only up to 53 again, which is interesting. I'm thinking that the temperature difference here is a result of it being later in the day and it was cooling off, because I mean this was actually probably closer to like 7 or 8 at night. So I think that's really why this was happening. I would have expected probably something closer to 58. I don't know, but that was the maximum reading that I got. So overall, this cooler performs really, really well, and I'm really happy with it. I would recommend it to just about anybody. So thanks for watching this video, guys. If you like what I'm doing, like this video, please. If you have any comments as to anything I might have missed or anything you want to see, maybe even future videos, let me know in the comments. If you don't like this video because it's long and boring, then dislike it, I suppose. And I hope to see you next time.